Hi, I'm Josh Fielstra with Native Instruments, and I'm going to be demonstrating some of the new features that are part of Kontakt 4. And what's new? Well, we have a choir inside Kontakt 4. This is a highly, meticulously sampled choir. I'm going to delve into some of the sounds so you can get a taste for this. I just got into the alto articulations, and I'll pull the letter A articulation, so it's just kind of an ah sound, and it sounds like so. You can hear there's a lot of expressiveness to this particular sound. When I play harder, the choir comes out, as opposed to a more gentle style of playing. Now that's just the altos. Amongst the different choir patches, you're going to have alto, bass, soprano, tenor, all the various different parts of the choir, and each of those different parts are all going to have different articulations. I just showed you the ah. Let's do the E. There's the E. Something that's really cool about the choir is I can actually split it up. So I can split the choir into two groups so that when I play a chord, some of the members of the choir will sing the lower notes and other ones will sing the higher notes. So it's almost like a divisi. You're splitting the section up for more realistic performance. And on that note, why don't I load one of my favorites in here? This is the choir Morph. Now what this will allow me to seamlessly morph between several different choir articulations. So I have an A, E, I, O, U, and then via the mod wheel on my keyboard controller, I'll just hold a note, and using the mod wheel, I'll actually be able to play through those different articulations just by moving the mod wheel. I could also assign this to Aftertouch if I want to turn the Aftertouch knob up here. Now when I press harder on the keyboard, it will actually dial in different articulations. Now you might be wondering how we're accomplishing that. You might think, well, that's probably a crossfade between different samples. Well, it's something very, very unique to Kontakt 4. It's actually a filter. If you look at, I'm inside the mapping editor of Kontakt right now, there aren't 5 different articulations inside here. I've just basically got a low velocity one, and when I hit it harder, it plays another one. The way it's getting all those different articulations is actually via something in Kontakt called the AET filter module. And what this is, this allows you to capture the spectral imprint of certain sounds and actually apply them onto other sounds. So what we've done in the case of the choir, when I just hold an A minor here, you can probably see on my display, as I move the mod wheel, it's actually applying the spectral characteristics of the E, the I, the O, and the U onto that one ah sound. So it's only using one set of samples. It's only using the ah, but I've captured the spectral information from these other vocal sounds, and I'm actually applying that to this one in real time. So this is a great way to get very, very smooth crossfades between different kinds of articulations, or you can use it creatively as a sound design tool. Maybe you want to capture the spectral, the sort of spectral image of something like a piano and stick it onto a bell sound, and then in real time kind of go back and forth between them. But the most common use for this is actually for smoothing out velocity. You might, for example, want a smoother transition between velocity layers. I showed you a moment ago the guitar sound, the nylon guitar. I'm going to reload that nylon guitar. Now you'll notice when I play the nylon guitar, I have several different velocity layers, but if you listen carefully, you might be able to hear the switchover points. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the AET filter to automatically blend those seamlessly. It's going to take all the spectral information from those different velocity layers, and then it's going to map it. So now I'll be able to morph between them much, much smoother when I hit the different keys. I'll show you what I mean. I'll just tell Kontakt to automatically create a velocity morph for me. It will go through and build that, and now that's exactly what it's done. And now, if you look down here, now when I play the notes on my guitar, it's seamlessly morphing between those different velocity layers, so it's a much more expressive sound to it. I don't have to worry about having any notes sticking out when I play harder, so it sounds very smooth. It's a really, really interesting tool, and it's designed primarily for getting more expressive sounds from things. You can use this on a saxophone to very smoothly go between a very hard-blowing effect and a softer one, so on and so forth. Lots of applications for this. Also, we've added lots of other kinds of sounds to the Kontakt library. We've added to the award-winning VSL orchestral sounds in here. Now, in addition to normal strings, for example, we also have solo strings. So you don't just have ensembles, you also have solo. I'm just loading the viola solo sound here. And you'll notice that this gets its own nice performance view right away. And as always, I can dial in particular articulations. And I can use the keyboard. I can use key switches on the keyboard to change those articulations. And I have a couple different impulse responses here. These are new ones. So if I want a larger room on my solo viola, I can get that pretty easily. Very good. We've got some new vintage sounds. We've got Mellotron, for example, that's included inside Kontakt 4. I'll give you a quick example of that. Let's do the Mellotron violins. This is a classic sound that everyone's familiar with. You're not limited to just the violins. You've got lots of different kinds of Mellotron samples inside there. Also, we've made some changes to the way that you find sounds inside Kontakt. This is core style browsing. If you're familiar with our product Core, what Core allows you to do is say, I'm looking for example, a synth lead sound or a synth pad or, say, a bass, and then it will automatically show in my search results only instruments of that type. Let's say bass. How about fingered bass? And then I've got a few different hits here. I can say, fine, let's take the classic bass. And I'll just drag and drop that in there. You can create your own tags as well. You're not limited to just the ones inside Kontakt 4. I don't have to deal with bass or fingered bass. I could create my own category, ethereal bass, if I wanted to. And it's easy to assign tags to existing instruments. It's basically just a matter of clicking on the instrument and dragging and dropping it onto the tags that you want it to have. So you can certainly make your own assignments. We've also added lossless compression inside Kontakt 4. Libraries are not getting any smaller. People are taking advantage of the power of computers in creating extremely large libraries. But in Kontakt 4, what we've done, if I just go into the save dialog for this instrument, you'll see a little box down here that says compress samples. And what that will do is that will compress the size of the samples so that they're much smaller, and it will be lossless. It's not like MP3, which is a lossy format. You don't actually lose any fidelity in using this. And if you decide later on that you want to uncompress it back into WAV, you can do that without any loss of fidelity because it is lossless. So the advantage of this is not only a smaller library size, if you want to compress your samples, but also it's lighter on the CPU because it's less for Kontakt to have to stream in real time. So lots of advantages of working with compressed samples. Well, thank you for taking a look at a few of the features inside Kontakt 4. If you have any more detailed questions on Kontakt or are interested in knowing more, absolutely feel free to contact your Sweetwater sales engineer and they can hook you up with all the information you would like.